Hi everybody, it's Dr. Lori, and I'm back with more rants and raves. It's where I get stuff off my chest, and I try to tell you things that are going on behind the scenes so you can, save more time, so you can learn more stuff, so you're not researching down some rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Here's what I've got for today. Today, I've got an update on the behind the scenes drama of my Ask Dr. Lori live videos. You know how those are. You're not going to believe the drama that goes on with those. You won't even believe it. An update on Precious Moments figurines and their values. And what I said, I made a comment about somebody's husband. So, I'm going to talk about that too. Here's a I told you so update, all right? Precious Moments figurines. I said on a couple of videos, and you can watch the videos here on the channel about Precious Moments figurines. I told you about their values, and their values were high. Here's what the comments I got. Oh, people use them for shooting practice. Dr. Lori's losing her street cred. Those Precious Moments objects aren't worth anything, those figurines. Well, here's the update. One of the resellers got back in touch with me and said, after I read your article and watched your video on Precious Moments, I actually sold one. I sold it for several hundreds of dollars, just like you said, Dr. Lori. I did what you said, and I sold it for what you said. Absolutely worth the values that you said they were. There you go. So all of you who think I'm losing my street cred, there's your update. There's actually a sales record where that piece sold. So updates happen, see? I told you, I'm trying to help you identify what's valuable. Someone in the comments wants me to teach them how to look up sold sales records on eBay. So in the comments, tell me, should I do that? I mean, is this something that I'm supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be teaching people how to actually use websites. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Soon I'll be teaching people how to drive their car. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think? I'd like to know in the comments. I think this next comment is the funniest one that I've heard. And here's what they said. They said, Dr. Lori, I think Dr. Lori has high school students looking up items on Google and then giving appraisals. I think that is hilarious. This is what is not hilarious about it. Because first of all, that's a joke. Of course I'm not doing that. Of course that's not happening. I'm reviewing everything. I'm looking at everything. That's why I look so bad. There it is. So basically, this is the crack up about it. That information gets onto social media, gets into these Facebook groups with these so-called experts and other folks, gets into all of those places. It's misinformation. It continues to be spread as being, and it's inaccurate. It's completely incorrect. And then what happens is you end up losing money because somebody says, I'm going to discredit Dr. Lori as an expert. I'm going to say that she has high school students actually doing the appraisal research, which is ridiculous. And then that information actually is more misinformation that you start to believe from people who don't know what they're talking about. That's the problem. So, it's kind of like that old game telephone, where somebody has some statement at one end of the line and then as it gets transferred to other kids down the line, it gets changed, or whispered down the lane. You remember those old games. It's kind of like that. You get that information. There's a lot of that misinformation out there. Pontil is one of those things. Blanco is another one of those things. What other misinformation do I see all the time? Oh yeah, patina. All those so-called experts don't get patina right still, right? Okay, and then, dead artists. Oh, everything's worth more dead artists. Also not true. There's a lot of these. Hey, we should just start a new one. Let's just start a new one. I'm 150 pounds. Maybe if we start that piece of misinformation, it will become true too. This next comment comes from someone who says, my husband says that the values of anything is just based on what somebody will pay. It's only what somebody will pay. Well, guess what? My values are based on actual sales records. They're what somebody paid. To that commenter, I agree with your husband. This next comment comes from someone who picked me first. I'm supposed to be so excited about picking me first. So this person writes in and says, well, Dr. Lori, if you can't answer this question, it's fine, but I'd like you to answer it. But if you can't answer it, I'm just going to go to a Facebook pottery group and they'll answer it. Well, thank you for choosing me first. Thank you for thinking that I'm the same as a Facebook pottery group that can be started by anyone with who knows what expertise or lack thereof. Now, granted, they may be fantastic, but if you think that they can answer your question, why bother me? I'm a busy person. I don't need to answer your questions then. So then you go on to ask this question about this particular potter and the marks on this particular potter's work. Making comments that as if you know what that information means. So, you seem to have some information, but unfortunately, some of the information that you got is wrong. So I don't know where you got that from. I don't know if you got it from a Facebook group. I don't know if you just found it online. I don't know. But you need to know your source, people, because if you don't know your source, that's going to be a problem. So make sure that your source is accurate and make sure your source knows what they're talking about. Because one of the comments that this person made was, oh, well, if that particular potter dies, then it wouldn't be devalued. And if this is a second, then that particular piece won't be worth less than a first, or the one that they think is better than the second. First of all, if it's a second, it's a second. And a second is going to be worth less. If somebody has convinced you that that's not the case, they're probably trying to sell you a second. Okay? So that's the first problem. And the other situation is that these marks mean different things with different studio art ceramists or different studio art potters. So be aware of that too. You had that information incorrect too. So before you start taking this information as gospel, let's make sure you get the right information. To you, I would say you probably might benefit from watching some more of my videos, or maybe taking a class, or learning a little bit more off of some of these sources that you're using. So nothing against anybody else, but if you're going to choose me first, then you might want me to answer your questions and make sure that you get all the information correct. So this next rant comes from a comment about actual sales records. Okay, I talk about actual sales records because that is the basis for, of course, the appraisal. So I appraised a Lladró figurine, and the person who has the comment said, I'm just curious of where you got that high value, like $2,000 for a particular Lladró figurine. I've looked here and I've looked there and I can't find anything. All of the values I find are in the $200 to $500 range for the same, what he thinks is the same Lladró figurine. Okay, first of all, you got to know the whole market and you got to review the whole market. Going to just one place, like an eBay sales record, is not going to reflect the whole market. That's what most people do. Maybe he did more than that. Okay. But most people just go to eBay sold, they think they're going to find it there, and there they go. Or they look at old, antiquated auction records from who knows where auctions, and they don't look at the whole market. Now, here's the situation with Lladró, for example. First of all, there's a very active market for Lladrós. Let me go back to the eBay situation. First of all, eBay. If you're looking there and you see something that's sold, let's look at things like, are you sure that you've looked at and maintained that there is, in fact, an actual sales background for these people? Do they have feedback? Do they really sell these pieces? Are they selling only Lladrós? Are they selling all different kinds of stuff? And Lladró is just one of the things that they sell. So is it possible that that person who's selling this for a low value or a lower value than what I've appraised it at doesn't care about how much they get because they got it for nothing and anything they make is gravy? Maybe that's the situation. Or maybe the person just doesn't know or didn't identify it correctly. There's a litany of problems with all of that. But when it comes to Lladrós, understanding the entire market is an international market now, because Lladrós made in Spain are marketed throughout most of course, Europe and also through the Caribbean and other islands. They sell very, very well in other places outside of the United States. So if you're only looking for outside of the United States markets and values, you're probably not seeing the high values. So while you can get that in the United States, a lot of people refuse to actually look at the whole global market. And now online, that is what the market is. You see a lot of people who are buying and selling over, of course, international lines. That's another thing. The other thing I want to remind you about is, did you have and did you research the same object that I appraised? Was it in the same condition? Was it the same actual number? Was it actually the same Lladró, or was it a now piece, which is a different type of piece that looked like Lladró? Was it a knockoff? What mistake might you have made? So again, all my values are based on actual sales records where a similar piece has sold recently, not over the last 2 years, but recently, within months of each other. So remember, that's also part of it. These pieces sell for a lot to particular people, and particular people are buying them because they know they either can resell them for even more or they want to add them to a lasting collection. I know a lot of you just want to say, oh no, it's not worth that, it's not worth that, because it's easier to just go, oh, I'm sick of trying to resell this thing, I'm just going to take whatever I can get. You can make exactly what I say for these pieces if you do the work. So again, that's what it is with that. This person wants to go, I'm just curious, show me the sales record. The sales records are right out there. You may not be researching in the right place. So this next rant has to do with my Ask Dr. Lori live videos, which are live streamed. Someone comments and says, I want to thank you very much for wasting a half an hour of my day because I was literally 1 second away from being in the green room or being backstage and then getting on to show my object to Dr. Lori live on the live stream. Okay. So, and then I got booted off. I got kicked off. So, I'm really happy that you got rid of me and that you booted me out of the waiting room, with StreamYard. I've explained this a lot. And I've explained this for a couple of, many times actually, not just a couple of times. I've explained this many times. The live stream software requires that we have to remove people so it doesn't crash the whole system. We have had the system crash. It's not great. So basically, we have to remove people, and that does happen. Now, granted, the live stream is free. The live stream is fun. It is part of a show, and of course, it does have its issues that we have to deal with. So, I am very happy to, of course, allow folks to do this for free, including this person who's complaining because we wasted a half an hour of their day. First of all, I don't think any time that you're watching my content that I am wasting any of your time. I think it's educational. I think it's fun. I think the guests are terrific. That's what I think. Now, that's my opinion. But if you think you're wasting your time, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste anybody's time. But I can save you some time. You can pay $49 and you can have a 10-minute one-on-one with me where there will be no booting of anybody. You will get through, you will talk to me, it will be on basically live on a video call. Or if you don't want to do that, $49 at the time of the taping for a 10-minute video call is the fee. You can take a class, you can actually talk to me and also the class members about whatever you want appraised, and that's $39 at the time of the taping. Again, now it's a shameless plug, sure, about, the other services, the other things that we offer, but the live stream video on Ask Dr. Lori Live is a free opportunity. And let me tell you this, who you think wasted a half an hour. Other people got booted too. Some people get mad and go to social media and say, I never want to deal with Dr. Lori again because I got booted, she booted me. We're not trying to boot anybody. So if we don't boot people out of that room because there's too many people because it's going to overload, if we don't do that, then we don't have any video. The whole thing just crashes. So that's the problem. I'm sorry that happened, but a lot of people get an opportunity and a lot of people who have been waiting also get an opportunity. It's very, very rare for you to be booted. So I'm sorry you waited. I'm sorry you feel this way, but I will say there's lots of opportunities for you to get to me personally, and that's a free opportunity. A lot of people also don't get selected, so that is just the way it goes. My producers are doing the best they can. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. But I don't appreciate it when you say I've wasted a half an hour. You learned something in a half an hour. I didn't chain you to a chair and tell you to watch the video and sit there to get your free appraisal. That was your choice. I'm glad you made that choice. I'm sorry you're upset, but come on. There are a lot of ways that you can get that piece of praise from me for very, very little. Free, yes, free is the best, right? But then you might have to give something up to get something for free. Check out my next video. I feel better having talked to you about rants and raves. Thanks for being with me. I'm Dr. Lori.